Hi guys, I'm at Slam Dunk Festival with Frank Iero. How you doing?
I'm doing really good. Doing really good, yeah.
Now, we're going to go delving into your mind a little bit today. Scary.
Good luck.
I'm going to dig deep. So, ahead of a festival, I have mixed feelings. I'm excited to see bands, but I'm also anxious about the situation. You know, loads of people, loads of opportunity to say the wrong thing.
Right, yeah.
How do you feel about it? Do you have a conflict of how you feel as well?
Yeah, sometimes my brain and my mouth don't really work together very well. You know, I think it plays into, like, for me, I never wanted to be like a frontman or like a mouthpiece for any kind of project I was ever in. I think that the most terrifying thing was like, oh, when the music stops, like, you have to talk to them. You know what I mean? Like hundreds of people, like, you gotta like be like, how are you tonight? You know, yeah.
I feel
that's
sweaty
think about that. Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah.
You know? So that's a bit rough. But I think that it was harder for me in the beginning because I thought I had to be this caricature that I had in my head of like what a frontman was, and I think I started to realize that one, I'm never going to be that. I'm always going to be this weird, awkward person that I am. So if I pretend to be that, like, there's no point in doing this.
That would be more awkward if you pretend to be something as well.
It'd be so much worse. You know what I mean? Like, to be this I don't know, a cartoon basically. You know, like with high kick. I can't high kick. Shit like that. Yeah. So I thought to myself, I was like, all right, well, if I'm gonna do it the way that I know how to do it. And it started to work a little bit. Like, sometimes though, you'll get up on stage and like I'll just talk like I would talk to you if we were in a room. And people don't know how to react to that. Like, unless you get up there and go like, hey, motherfuckers, like, they don't know, like, so they look at you like, why didn't you call me a motherfucker yet? You know what I mean? And it's like, that's a bit strange. But I feel like that comfortability in your own skin, although I'm still struggling with it, you need that in order to kind of get up there and just be yourself. And if you can do that and not really give a shit what people think about your true self, that's the ultimate goal. I think that's what we're all truly trying to strive for. And that's, of course, easier said than done, you know? Especially in a festival setting, because festival settings are like, it's sensory overload, you know? You have a lot of times where you're up there and you genuinely just want to, you know, like, express something, you know? And there's, you know, loud noises happening, people ordering beer and hot dogs or something, and, like, you know, screaming at merch people, and, like, it's like there's a lot happening. And then ultimately, like, all of that dies down, and then there's feedback. It's like, holy shit, like, what else could happen? You know, so I feel like festivals for me are very much about letting the music kind of speak for it, and I genuinely manufacture a set list so that happens, so that I have very little time to talk at all at a festival. That's by design. It's not a mistake.
Okay.
So.
Now, what about on those days? You've got maybe a day of promo.
Right.
You've got interviews. You've got to do meet and greets, and you wake up and you're like having one of those days where you want to hide under your duvet and not talk to anyone. What do you do in that situation? Do you cancel everything? Do you work through it? What do you do?
Well, there's two sides of that, right? There's two different factions. I feel like one, you don't ever want to force it or feel like it's a job, because when you start jobbing it, then it's like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? You know, I could be working a 9 to 5. You know, but there's another faction where it's like, a lot of times when you meet people and maybe what you need is to just go and hide, but what they really need is to be able to tell you something that they've been holding inside for a very long time, and I feel like a lot of times those moments you have to make a conscious decision. Is it about you and what you need, or is it about what someone else may need at that point? And sometimes they don't need you to say anything. They just need you to stand there and listen and kind of take it, you know? And and I feel like when you think about it in that respect, sometimes it helps with the way that you're feeling, by being there for someone else. You know, sometimes it makes it worse, but sometimes it helps, and I feel like you just all we can all do is just try our best, to extend ourselves to one another and be that open ear and be that open heart and try to get through this crazy thing that we call life. You know what I mean? There's definitely times where you're walking through a crowd and you need to be like, hey, listen, I'm sorry, not right now. There's something else I have to go do, and it's not because I'm discounting you, but it's just because I need a moment, and I feel like if that happens, you have to take it sometimes. But if you can be there for someone else, that's what you try to do.
Don't you wish we could have an invisibility cloak that we could just whack on whenever we need?
That would be the greatest invention in the world. Absolutely.
Invent that.
But I feel like if we had that, there'd be people out there that never got out from under it.
I might be invisible all the time.
Yeah. And then it turns into like this weird voyeurism thing where you're just kind of watching everybody and you're like, oh no, I kind of have to go to the bathroom. Is this weird? Yeah. Yeah. So.
Now, when you're having one of those bad days I was talking about, what about with your team of people? Do you voice it like, guys, I might be a bit shitty today, I might be a bit quiet, or do you tweet things that hint towards that so they know what vibe you're on?
I think that expressing it in that way, not the tweeting thing, but actually expressing it to people that you care about and love, would be a really mature and adult way of dealing with that. I am not an adult.
Not there yet.
Yeah. It's funny that you said about tweeting. Maybe, I don't know, subconsciously, possibly, when I feel like Twitter is reserved for pure comedic purposes and or announcing something having to do with an online something or other. I don't take it seriously at all.
I think that's where I do my cries for help via Twitter, because I don't maybe open up to friends and WhatsApp them, say I'm struggling. I'll be like, oh, I hate today.
Maybe that's why people get so mad at me, because I feel like it's like open mic night. You know what I mean? That's where I'm like, oh, I gotta try this Mitch Hedberg fucking one-liner that I got. That makes no sense. I take that so if this was serious, it'd be below the ground where I feel about that kind of thing. And which is funny because if I'm serious about something, I'll post it on the website because I feel like that's my I own that. It's so I try I put things that I'll write or photographs or art that I do. I'll put that on the site. Twitter and Instagram is just that's for just being really silly.
I like brain farts on Twitter.
Totally. Yeah. I'll if you're bored, you look at for replies that you can be really sarcastic about, shit like that.
I've seen it.
Yeah. And I don't mean it in an ill will way. I think it's just really funny.
Yeah.
Some people find it funny. Some people probably don't.
Might be a bit niche for something.
Yeah. That's a very
You've got to do you though, haven't you? That's what it's for.
If there's people out there watching, don't take anything I say on Twitter to heart. It's pure comedic.
You're laughing behind the screen.
Oh my God, yeah, maniacally. Maniacally, yes. Yeah.
Now, I was watching an interview yesterday and you were saying next year you need some time off to decompress.
Yeah.
Now, do you make that observation about yourself that you need some time out, or do other people have to say, Frank, you need to come home, you need to relax for a bit? Do you need to be told?
No one's told me anything yet. I feel like when I started out doing this quote unquote solo thing, my main I guess rule, the one rule is that there's no rules, basically. I kind of call all the shots, and I really like it because I've never done that before. And not in a pricky way, but that this is my thing, so I'll tell you what I'm gonna do and what I'm not gonna do. So I think with everything that happened in the past 6 months, I know that I'm not the same person I was. And I'm not saying that that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just I know that it's different. Everything's different for me. and I haven't had a chance to really figure out what that all means yet. We had some touring set up for 2016 that we needed to cancel because just physically it was impossible. But I didn't want to cancel everything that we had kind of booked, because I felt like without that goal of something to come back to, the recovery would be non-existent. I was kind of having this conversation a little bit earlier today. Like, I've been in bands since I was 11 years old. I've been touring since I was 17. This is all I know and all I've ever done. So to have that kind of ripped out of your life and taken from you, like stolen from you, it was just a little too much to bear. So I needed to have something to work towards. And I feel like I probably pushed all of us a little too hard to get to that goal. And I see that now, and I don't know if that was a great thing, but I think it was necessary.
And it came from the right place.
It came from the right place, yeah. And I think that, it felt like a success. It felt like a win to get back out on the road and do these things and play these songs that I never thought we would ever get to play. Like, that was like a dagger to the heart. You know what I mean? When all that happened, I guess I would think about these songs that we crafted and I, like, when I made these songs, I thought about how people would maybe react to them in a live setting, and to never be able to do that, like, just, it made my chest like hurt, you know, in a really bad way. And so I know I needed to get out there and do it, and I feel like we pushed it really hard, and we did it, and we got here, and we're doing it, and that's amazing. For better or worse, it's amazing. But I think when this is done at the end of this year, when we feel like we've really, you know, played all the shows that we wanted to play on this tour or on this record, and we have that chance to kind of take a step back, I want to take that step back and really think about what my life is now, and who I really am, and what's really truly important, and I want to kind of figure out, you know, like, what do I want to do, and how do I want to do it?
All that reflection, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, what I need to figure out what I need as a person, and as an artist. I'm not gonna it's not gonna be the same old thing. It's not. It can't be. And so, but I know that I can't describe that or work on that with anyone until I know what it is. So I just need that time.
And you don't know how long that will take.
I have no idea.
Or what process will happen in that time. It'll be interesting, won't it? To see
It's going to be really interesting, yeah. And I think that it's going to be frustrating as well, and really scary. But I think that I revel in the stuff that scares the shit out of me. You know what I mean? So
I think that's a creative person thing. We almost like some torment and drama. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why it's funny. Like, that's why I talk about, like, how, like, touring and like playing live and stuff like that is, like, basically it's, you love this like 55% and hate it 45%. You know what I mean? It's like that, but that extra 10%, man, it's like that's the key. Yeah, that's what you need. So, you know, the things that we love ends up killing us, basically. Yeah.
Probably shouldn't end the interview on that note. That's like cheery.
Yeah, but no, actually, it's okay because it didn't kill me. I survived. I'm unkillable, basically, I think.
I wanted to ask you, because when you write a song, you have to make a choice. Is it going to be completely transparent and soul-bearing, or does it have a veil where you just mask some of the truths? And do you find that if you say go for the one where you mask the truth a bit or it's diluted, does it show in your outside studio life because you're still pent up with it and still, do you know what I mean?
That's a good question. I don't know about that, because I don't think I've ever gotten to that point on things. Well, maybe that's not true either. I feel like there is that crossroads. And you decide, like, all right, well, I'm either gonna mask this fully and you're gonna feel like a faker a bit, you know, or you're gonna be as truthfully and honest as you possibly can be and feel like you've unleashed. And that's a really scary moment before that comes out and people hear it, because, you know, the worst thing you can be told is that you're crazy. You know, as an artist, like, the only thing you're hoping for is that people tell you that you're not crazy. That comes from the heart. Like, Yeah, because you live in this thing of self-doubt constantly, where you're chasing things and chasing things and chasing things, and you don't know. You're so in it sometimes that you don't know. Like, am I insane? Like, is this good? Am I on to something that's worthwhile? Like, it makes me feel good inside, so that must mean it's right. But you never know. Like, you could have it out there, and then people could just totally reject you and discount you, and that's horrible. That's a horrible feeling. So anyway. If you want me to go off on a tangent on that, by the way, because I feel like I need to explain that a little bit more too. With all of those feelings, you still can't allow yourself to mold what you're making based on what you think other people are going to think. That's dead in the water. So like you're always treading this line of like, am I my true self on this? And is this good? Is worthwhile to chase this white rabbit basically? And ultimately you have to make that decision, kind of take a step back and be like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fucking just risk it all, go for it. And when that pays off, the feeling is overwhelming. When it doesn't, it's crushing. With that being said, when I do that, I despise describing what a song is about to people, because if you think you know, and if it means something to you, then that's what that song means. If I tell you exactly where it came from and what it's about, then I feel like I'm doing the song a disservice, and I'm doing you a disservice, because then you don't have that ownership anymore. Like, now you're only thinking about because who gives a shit what I wrote it about? You know what I mean? That's for me to know and for me to feel. You, as a listener, as an interpreter, like, that needs to be yours now. I have to relinquish that control.
Yeah, that's a process in itself.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I always thought for a long time that art the art ended when you were done with it. But I realized later on that like the final process is relinquishing control, giving it to someone else, and then what they do with it. Like, that's the final step, and that's what's so amazing about music and art, is that it's a living, breathing organism. It's not an inanimate object. It's not this piece of paper. It just keeps on going, and that ripple can carry on. So anyway, with that, I'm sorry, I'm losing track. But if you don't go all the way and you veil it too much, you could feel like a faker, and also those issues will never be resolved, so they might come up again later on. I feel like there might be some things on Stomachaches that kind of reveal themselves again on Parachutes, because I didn't really think I was writing a record. I was just kind of capturing a moment in time. Now, does that mean that I did it the wrong way the first time? No, maybe I just didn't know how to do it correctly, and maybe those things would stay with you forever because that's just part of you. Ultimately, there's no way to answer that question. It's whatever you feel works for you as an artist at that moment. You know, you have to kind of go with your gut.
We spoke about briefly last time when we were speaking about how you didn't think you were, obviously, you never intended to be a front man, like you said earlier. What about your personality traits do you think don't meld well with the front man, like, blueprint?
I feel like I'm not good at that whole, like, selling yourself type thing. Like
self-promotion.
Yeah. I feel like I grew up in a world, I don't know if it's an East Coast thing of this, like, self-deprecation is where it all comes from. Like, you if you feel good about the things that you've done, or if you say good things about the things that you do, then you're boastful and you're full of shit and you're an asshole. Like that is kind of synonymous with that kind of stuff. And I feel like you need to have this allure and this self-confidence to get up there and be a frontman. So you wrestle with that, you know. I learned a lot from Ross Robinson and working with him on this last record, that, you know, every producer and every person I'd worked with in, like, a music industry always did this thing where they would kind of break you down in order to build you back up, and he didn't do that. Like, he was very much about, like, well, why would I break anyone down. Like, there's something really special and wonderful about the things that you do. So let's just take it from there and make it even better, you know? And that was like never in my. I was like, wait, so you're gonna compliment us? Like, that's insane. Who
That's
does
unheard
that?
of,
Yeah, that's
isn't it?
unheard of. Yeah, and I don't know how to take a compliment, so I had to learn how to do that. And so, yeah, that was a thing. Like, and I think making that record and I'm very, very proud of the thing that we made together. I feel like it came out of my head the way I heard it inside, and that's kind of rare, you know. Maybe even surpassed it a little bit, and I feel like you get maybe one of those every 10 years. So that was a huge confidence builder for me. The fact that I could sit down and write a record, you know, like on my own, like as a solo artist, like just from nothing, like just kind of put it out there. Like Stomach Aches, I kind of fell into it was like a little bit of a happy mistake. Like I just wrote songs, and all of a sudden, like I was out on tour with it. This was the first time I sat down and was like, I'm making a record. People are going to hear it. This is what I'm going to say, and I toiled over it. So yeah, I think that helps with the becoming a frontman thing, because I never, maybe I didn't believe in myself that I could actually do it, you know. So why should anyone else? And I guess that's a thing that happens.
Because I expect we have like the Liam Gallaghers of the world that are these cocky men at the front, like, oh, I'm great, and you're like, I don't know if I'm any good.
I know, and that's the thing is like that dude's he's a great frontman, because like, you know, it's almost like wrestling. You know what I mean? Like there's these people that you love to hate, but you go see them because they're so captivating. And I can't do that shit. Maybe I do it on Twitter. Maybe that's why I do it there.
There we go. It's all clear now.
That's my villain side on there. I don't know.
And now when you make a record, you just let creativity flow. You don't overly plan it. But then also with the album, you have the bookends that you know you want to start and finish. So what does that say about your personality? Do you like control, or do you like to be free and... Do you know what I mean?
I like it to appear that it's not thought about at all. Here's the thing. Everybody wants to be James Dean. Everybody wants to be cool without trying to be cool.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal. Yeah. And that shit doesn't exist. And if it does, you get killed in a car accident at a really young age.
Dark.
I don't believe in that. You know, there's for me, at least with the bookend thing, like I need to know where I'm starting and where I'm ending. If I don't know that, I can't fill in the gaps, and I don't know what I'm trying to say. Otherwise, it's just kind of like you're kind of shooting in the dark, like trying to put something together. And I guess that, say, like in my last band, working at My Chem, like that was hard for me, because like we would work on these songs, and I'd be like, what's the big deal? Like, you know, it's like, this is a great open idea, but like thematically, if it didn't make sense to G, like he had a really hard time with that, and now I understand like where that comes from. Also, too, it's probably a lot easier because it's just me. It doesn't have, like, I'm not dealing with, you know, 4 other guys. Yeah, I need to have a first step, and I need to know where I'm at that last rung on the ladder. You know what I mean? The rest is easy for me to fill in. Here you go.
Just go mad.
Yeah, like that I can. That they're like, I love that Tetris game of like, oh, this fits here, this is perfect here. But yeah, if I don't have a starting or end point, I'm lost, completely lost. This record I toiled over a lot. I worked it so hard to the point where I'm shocked that Evan and Matt didn't quit and hate me forever. Because like the first time around, like, you know, I did, like, I wanted things to channel through me, but I was working with me and a drum machine. This time I was working with real live people that, like, I would come in and be like, all right, let's try it like this, and then I would like record it, listen back to it all night, and then change everything we had done the next day. And I would do that for weeks and weeks and weeks. Because I wanted to be clear about how I was portraying what I wanted to say and what I was saying. And yeah, this record wasn't effortless by any means. I hope it appears to be that way, but yeah, it's not.
That's a bigger achievement for you. If you know it's been hard and you reach that end point, then that's a good feeling.
The other thing, if somebody was like, "You're fucking crazy, this album sucks," that would crush me. Yeah.
And you put yourself at risk all the time in this work, don't you?
You have to.
You live on the edge, basically.
Yeah, it's like an Aerosmith song.
That's a nice way to stop, like, end the interview. Thank you for letting me delve in again. Lovely to see you.
Nice to see you too.
And good luck with the rest of the year.
Thank you. I'll see you at the show.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Dave.
Always a pleasure.